Okay, let's untangle a few of the most important and, let's be honest, confusing words in our digital lives. Privacy, security, and AI, right? They get thrown around all the time, often interchangeably. But figuring out the difference between them, that's absolutely critical. So let's dive in.
So let's start with the big one. The question that really trips people up. Is your data private or is it secure? I mean, are they even the same thing? We hear these terms constantly, but here's the thing. They're not. And really getting that difference is the key to, well, pretty much everything else we're going to talk about.
All right, first things first. Let's really get to the foundation of this whole thing, security versus privacy.
So, data security. That's all about defense. It's the digital walls, the locks, the alarms, everything that's designed to protect your information from someone who isn't supposed to see it, unauthorized access. But data privacy, that's totally different. That's about the rules for people who are authorized. It's all about governing how your data can be used, even by people who have legitimate permission to access it.
You know, the best way to think about this is with a bank vault. The security, that's the thick steel door, the complex locks, all the alarms. It's what keeps the bad guys out. But the privacy, that's the set of rules that says the bank manager, who has a key, can't just go into your safe deposit box and rifle through your stuff. See? You absolutely need both.
Okay, so now that we've got the basics down, let's zoom out a bit and look at the actual rules of the road, globally.
And just look at the speed here. It's incredible. In just a handful of years, the entire landscape has been totally transformed. I mean, you've got Europe's huge GDPR kicking things off in 2018, then California's CCPA, then India's DPDPA, and now the EU's brand new first-of-its-kind AI Act. This isn't some slow-moving trend, folks. This is a full-on global regulatory explosion. And that's exactly why this stuff is more urgent to understand now than ever before.
And what's really interesting is that while all these laws are a little different, you can see them all starting to converge on the same set of core ideas. You look at the GDPR in Europe, the CCPA in California, the LGPD in Brazil, they're all giving people fundamental rights over their own data. Things like the right to be forgotten, the right to have your data erased. It really feels like we're starting to see a global consensus form around what our digital rights should be. But, of course, just when we think we're starting to get a handle on the rules, along comes AI to completely change the game. And it's such a double-edged sword, right? It's this incredible tool for protection, but at the same time, it's a massive, massive new challenge for privacy.
Yeah, this quote from MasterCard it hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? On the one hand, AI can power these incredibly smart fraud detection systems and make security way better. But on the other hand, that exact same technology can be used to create hyper-realistic voice clones for scams or to launch cyber attacks that are more sophisticated than anything we've ever faced. So the big question is, how in the world do you regulate something this powerful? Well, the EU's AI Act is trying something really interesting. They're using this risk-based pyramid. So at the very top, the absolute most dangerous stuff. We're talking government social scoring, things like that. It's just banned. Outright. Gone. Then you have the next level down, the high-risk AI. This is stuff used in hiring or in critical infrastructure. That gets very strictly controlled. And then, for things with limited risk, like chatbots, the rule is super simple, transparency. You just have to know you're talking to an AI, not a person.
Okay, so we've got new rules and we've got this huge new challenge with AI. So what's the solution? Well, this is where it gets really cool, because we're going to look at how technology itself is evolving to solve the very privacy problems it helped create.
See, for decades, we've been stuck in this really frustrating trade-off. It's like a seesaw. On one side, you've got innovation. We need to analyze massive amounts of data to do amazing things, like fight fraud or cure diseases. But on the other side, doing that often puts our individual privacy at risk. We've been forced to choose progress or privacy. It's been a constant battle. But what if we could break that seesaw? Well, now there's a new class of tools emerging called privacy-enhancing technologies, or PETs for short, that are designed to do exactly that. And their promise is, well, it's pretty revolutionary. The idea is you can get all the valuable insights from a dataset without ever having to see the raw private information itself. Think of it like this. PETs are kind of like a magic lens. You can hold it up to a huge field of really sensitive data, but instead of seeing all the individual private details, the lens only reveals the big picture patterns and insights. So you get all the value, while every individual's privacy stays completely protected. Pretty amazing, right?
So how does this magic actually work? It's not really magic. There are a few main ways it's done. First, you can create something called synthetic data. Basically, it's an artificial, totally anonymous data set that has the same statistical properties as the real thing. Or, second, you can actually analyze data while it's still fully encrypted. And third, and this one is really clever, instead of moving all the sensitive data to one central place, you bring the analysis to the data, wherever it happens to be.
And look, this isn't some far-off sci-fi concept. It's actually happening right now in the real world. The U.S. Census Bureau, they use a PT to publish all their statistics without revealing anyone's individual identity. Big Swiss banks are using this stuff to collaborate on fighting cyber threats, sharing insights without ever sharing customer data. And Google Assistant, it uses a technique called federated learning to get smarter on your phone so your raw voice recordings never even have to leave your device.
All right, let's get to the bottom line here. We've talked about the concepts, the laws, the new tech, but what does this all really mean for you, for businesses, in the real world?
You know, when you boil it all down, it really comes to two things. On one side of the scale, you have the huge, huge cost of failure. And on the other, you have the incredible value of building trust. So let's talk about the cost of failure first. Just look at this number. Over 4.5 billion euros. That's how much has been fined under Europe's GDPR since it started. I mean, this is not a slap on the wrist. Getting data protection wrong has absolutely staggering financial consequences.
But really, this is about so much more than just avoiding fines. It's about the other side of that scale, building trust. In today's digital world, trust is basically the ultimate currency. When your customers truly trust you with their data, they're more loyal, they stick around. And yeah, they're more willing to share the very data that helps you innovate. That's how being proactive about privacy isn't just a defense, it's a huge competitive advantage.
And all of this leaves us with one final and really critical question. We're in a race. There's no doubt about it. AI technology is advancing at this incredible, exponential rate. It's creating new possibilities and new dangers every single day. So the question for all of us is this: can our rules and can our tech be smart enough to keep up? Can they evolve fast enough to make sure that the future we're building is not just innovative, but also secure and private?